Good day. I welcome you all to Bullion Trade Talk Series 1 of 2022 on discussion of Chapter 71 of UAE India Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. Unfortunately, Mr. Srivatsava, who was supposed to moderate the session, is having a very sore throat because of Bangalore weather condition. So in place of him, I'll be moderating the session. My name is Nilambari, and I would like to invite our panelist, Shri Prithviraj Kothari ji, National President IBJA, Shri Bhargava Vaidya ji, BN Vaidya and Associates, Shri Chandru Siroya ji, Siroya Jewellers LLC, Shri K. Srinivasan, Emerald Jewels, Shri Pramod Mohan, Finmet Private Limited. UAE and India signed CEPA on February 18, 2022. It's historic as it covers the trade in goods and services and also movements of persons. The India-UAE CEPA is expected to boost the economic ties between the countries and the region. So congratulations to both the governments for the initiative and also reaching the agreement in record time. As per our understanding, the CEA would become operational from 1st May 2022. Therefore, this webinar seems to be very significant. The purpose of this webinar is to understand the provisions of CEPA with respect to Chapter 71 of HS Code. Chapter 71, natural or cultured pearls, precious or semi-precious stones, precious metals, metals clad with precious metals, and articles thereof, imitation jewelry and coin. Specifically, we will try to understand the provision of 7108, gold bullion, 7113 and 7114, gold jewelry, 7112, scrap, 706, silver bullion. So I hope Mr. Kothari has joined. Just a moment. Okay, so we will start with Mr. Pramod Mohan. Is he there?
Yeah, very much.
Okay, sir. So as an independent advisor of DGCX and someone who has seen the Dubai bullion and refining sector emerge closely, how do you see this development?
So this is definitely a very positive development for the UAE bullion market per se. And I would say it is also a reflection of the efforts that's been made by the government officials in line with the industry leaders in promoting a good standard for the gold, which was initially DGD and currently it is at UAE Good Delivery. So I think it is really an important milestone when it comes to the UAE Good Delivery getting the due recognition after a long time. So keeping in mind that Dubai, or rather UAE, has become a major refining center for the region when it comes to gold bullion, when it comes to gold jewelry, and in the last couple of years, we have seen a major increase in the manufacturing, also in terms of jewelry. So the current outcome, which is the CEPA, where you've got an differential rate for gold bullion as well as for jewelry, is definitely in the right direction, and it is going to help the trade between these two countries into definitely a new level. So I would quickly reflect on the couple of things very briefly, and then I would pass it back to you. So when it comes to the differential rate for the import of bullion from UAE, again, it is still early stages. We know it's based on trade-related quotas. So we don't know on what basis it is going to happen on the other end. But it's very clear. It's very clear that 120 tons of gold from year one is going to be imported out of UAE at a preferential rate of 1%. So which is a great thing for the UAE Good Delivery bars. So that's number one. Number two, coming to the next slide where we are talking about scrap. So based on the initial understanding, any
Sir, on the scrap, On the scrap part, we'll be talking in the second slide. If you can move ahead,
Okay, that's fine.
just keeping that.
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. So from this particular point, I just want to,
Yes.
on the first point, I think it's definitely a great development, getting a preferential rate of 1% for the UAE bullion industry. And I'm sure it's going to go a long way in terms of the trade between these two countries.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We move on to Mr. Bhargavaji. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, sir. Perfect. So, sir, do you see any challenges with the introduction of tariff rate quota? So, what are the challenges? If you can just brief us, it will be really nice.
Yeah, I am, always a little bit cautious when it comes to bullion. And any concessional description in bullion is generally worked out with lot of extra carefulness. And when it comes to bullion, people in India thinks there is some adjustment, but only 1% would make it very practical and workable. So only one line I'm a little bit worried is where you give a certification that you have abided by all the conditions as maybe or in the spirit of the agreement. That is a little bit odd for me because anybody can say, let me check this. And by the time you prove you are right, it may take a lot of time. So this is the only issue. I think if the right spirit has been put into that, I see no other challenge and we will be able to work out.
So I request everyone to mute their mic because it's creating little hindrance. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bhargavaji. I see if Prithvi Raj Pothari ji is online. Okay, fine. So we will get back to him once he comes. So we move on to slide, second slide. Okay, so on 7113 gold jewelry, we can include 7114 as well. So this refers to gold jewelry. So let me invite Mr. Chandru Siroya. So what is the status of gold jewelry import from UAE currently? And will the concession investigated here provide new opportunities for UAE-based manufacturers to look at India for marketing the jewelry? Over to Mr. Chandru Siroya. Mr. Chandu, are you there? Unmute karo.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. First of all, very good afternoon to all the esteemed attendees of this webinar. Yes, this SEPA is going to have far-reaching changes in the way we do business between UAE and India. India has given a 1% concession, and UAE has given a full concession. So any exporter who wants to export his jewelry to UAE will be able to do so without any duties. So Indian-made jewelry will become very competitive in UAE, and UAE, as we all know, is the gateway to the world and the jewelry destination of the world. So we, as traders in UAE, will be able to offer the Indian-made jewelry at a much more competitive price to the world. So I believe there is going to be a very, very good business between the two countries. Manufacturing will increase in India because smaller manufacturers who were manufacturing in the UAE may shift their base to India because since there is no duty, the cost of manufacturing in UAE is a little higher than India. So to take advantage of that, they might shift their base to India also. So all in all, I think it is going to be beneficial to both the countries. UAE because we will get cheaper goods, so we can supply to the world, and India because new manufacturing capabilities will be made or enhanced manufacturing will be done to benefit from this trade.
So if we talk about Indian jewelry being exported to UAE, we want to know about that part of the story.
Yeah, that is what I said. So Indian jewelry exports to UAE. In UAE, we will be able to get it free of duty. There is zero duty. So it will be as if it is local made jewelry. So there will be a big demand for Indian made jewelry in UAE. And UAE, as I mentioned earlier, we have the buyers from all over the world coming here for their jewelry. So, UAE, as we know, is home to 192 nationalities, and the jewelers here stock jewelry for almost every taste. So I think there will be a big offset in the manufacturing of UAE going to India, and Indian jewelry being offered in much better prices will result in much larger turnovers with UAE.
So if we talk on the import of UAE to India, so this is actually the slide is about that only. So if you can,
Import from UAE to
UAE to
India
India,
is
right?
not, yeah, UAE to India is not going to be so beneficial because there is a little concession, but the duty rate is very high. And normal jewelry cannot be sold with such high duty. You see, if the duty can be lowered, then yes, the UAE jewelers who are exporting to India will also benefit. But it is not a very big advantage which we have under SEPA.
Okay, thank you. So we go to Mr. Srinivasan. So,
Yes, madam.
yeah. So, how do you see it? Will this lead to a competition and any margin pressures? And or if it will not affect at all? What are the positives? What you see it in this?
It is a golden. Good evening to all. It is a golden opportunity for Indian jewelry manufacturer because India we are manufacturing lot of varieties. Okay, similar varieties other countries also manufacturing, whereas Malaysia, Singapore, Turkey. Okay, few things from Italy also. Actually, no, when they are importing to UAE, they have to pay duty for those kind of jewelry. But we have the ability to manufacture those kind of jewelry in India also. So the actual moment we are manufacturing and we are exporting to UAE, actually no duty free. It is a very good for us. Definitely, whatever the export is happening right now, it is going to increase drastically. That's what I can see.
I agree.
How much, sir? How much export do you think will go?
Sir, minimum I think it will double. Whatever current export is happening, it will double. Because it's a very good for them, which is very good for us also. See, our Prime Minister dream is make in India. Now it is possible. Because of that only they have entered into this agreement. 100% our manufacturing base going to strong, and we are exporting. We are going to export a lot. Definitely from Dubai, they will supply to the entire world. So definitely manufacturing demand will go up. We will have a lot of benefit in this agreement.
The standard, plain gold jewelry is around 3.5 billion to UAE. How much will be, 3.5 billion in total. So how much will be in for UAE if we ask you specifically on the number side?
See, number side, I have not calculated, but whatever we are exporting, no, definitely it is going to be double. If it is a triple also, there is no surprise.
On the standard jewelry side?
See, standards jewelry, so definitely there should be some increase. Actually, no, we are going to be very, very competitive. See, actually, no, when there is a 5% duty, our cost of goods is very high for Dubai importer, right? Now, the moment there is no import duty, actually, no, a lot of savings will be there. Definitely, people will promote to sell our jewelry. Actually, no, whatever jewelry we are manufacturing, no, that will also increase. Other than that, what our neighbors are manufacturing, those things also we can manufacture in India, but that volume also will go up. See, only because of that, I'm expecting maybe twice or three times.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So over to Mr. Chandru Siroya, we just wanted to know how much jewelry last year came, went from India to UAE. What was the status of jewelry? It was more on the studded part, or was on the plain gold side? If you can just throw some light on that.
You see, UAE is a major importer of plain gold jewelry. A little part is definitely studded jewelry also, but majority of the jewelry is plain gold jewelry, and we buy jewelry in 21 karat as well as in 22 karat. Some 18 karat jewelry is also imported into UAE from India, from the more advanced manufacturing companies who have Italian technology or who have manufacturing capabilities of Turkish type jewelry. So they also export 18 and 14 karat jewelry, but majority is 21 karat jewelry. As far as the numbers are concerned, I don't have access to that right now. So I would be just guessing, but I would say that compared to year on year, 2021 was better than 20 and 19 was much better than both of these years.
Thank you, Mr. Chandu. It was really indeed one piece of information. So moving on to the next slide. So it is important that UAE has completely waived off the custom tariff for gold jewelry from India. So we have Mr. Srinivasan.
Yes, madam. Hello, madam.
What happened?
Okay, so sorry, sir. We have to move on to 7112 now. Next slide, please. So subheading is causing a lot of worry. We had an excellent webinar section alone in Saturday organized by IGBC, and we have seen several articles in newspaper cautioning both government on this section. So sorry, I have to ask Mr. Chandu only. So are you there?
Yeah, what is this section? Yeah, because I don't have access to the section now. Can you please tell me what this section is about?
This is about scrap, sir. So I have just if you can just see the screen, it's there. It's
yeah, but I'm joining from my mobile. Yeah, scrap gold. Okay, yeah, understood.
Okay, so it is a waste and scrap of precious metals or metal clad with precious metal, other waste and scrap containing precious metal or precious metal compounds of kind used principally for recovery of precious metals. That's what.
Yeah. So what is your question?
So the question is, what is the cause of worry in the provision made under this section?
I think somebody's mic is on.
Yeah.
Okay. See this. There has been a lot of talk in the bullion circles in India right now, especially. Can everybody please mute themselves? Excuse me. Okay. There is a lot of talk happening in the bullion circles in India and in UAE also.
Mr. Chandru, we can't hear you. Mr. Chandu, we cannot hear you.
I was muted by somebody. Okay. You see, there is a lot of talk happening in the bullion dealers in India and also in UAE, and a lot of concern also because according to the section which is mentioned here, it is apparent that there is no import duty on the import of scrap gold into India from UAE. Now, if this is true, then it is going to be a total game changer because we will have a lot of scrap gold going from UAE to India. And I'm sure that there will be some additions which will be done in due time. So we have to wait and watch what is going to be the clarifications issued. But as it stands under the law, all scrap gold jewelry is all scrap gold. I cannot say jewelry. Scrap gold is free of duty. It will all depend on how the customs interpret scrap gold. For example, in UAE, scrap gold is subject to duty. So we will have to wait and watch what is the interpretation of the customs in India.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. हमारे साथ पृथ्वीराज कोठारी जी ज्वाइन हुए हैं. Sir, are you there? कोठारी जी.
हाँ जी.
जी. सर, आपका क्या रिएक्शन है स्क्रैप को लेकर के? आप क्या बोलना चाहेंगे सर?
हाँ, सबसे पहले थैंक यू मैम एंड गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। द स्क्रैप में जो जीरो ड्यूटी की बात जो आप कर रहे हो मैडम, उसमें वैल्यू एडिशन शुड बी अराउंड 40%। उसमें वैल्यू एडिशन है, तो इट्स पॉसिबल ही नहीं है कि 40% वैल्यू एडिशन के बाद में इंडिया में कोई बेच सकता है गोल्ड के ऊपर। तो ये 0% ड्यूटी इट्स कम्स अंडर 40% वैल्यू एडिशन आप करके कौन कंट्री भेजेगी? आई डोंट थिंक सो कि इट्स हैपन है। और अगर 0% अगर कस्टम्स ड्यूटी में अगर स्क्रैप आता है तो फिर हमारा इंपोर्ट सिर्फ स्क्रैप के ऊपर ही डिपेंड करेगा। या लॉट ऑफ रिफाइनरीज इज देयर, द बैंक्स आर इंपोर्टिंग गुड्स एक्सपोर्ट के लिए, वो सब पे इफेक्ट करेगा। बट आई थिंक इट्स अ 40% वैल्यू एडिशन से कोई कंट्री से माल हम आई थिंक चंदू भाई वी कैन नॉट इम्पोर्ट फ्रॉम 40% ऑफ ए वैल्यू एडिशन।
आई एग्री विद यू पृथ्वीराज जी, बट इसमें ऐसा है कि द वेरी टर्म स्क्रैप इन द इंग्लिश डिक्शनरी, उसके अंदर सीधा है कि उसके अंदर कोई वैल्यू एडिशन हो ही नहीं सकता। सो देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ कंफ्यूजन ऑन दिस। मैं जब आपने ज्वाइन किया उसके पहले मैंने यही कहा कि इसमें बहुत सारा कंफ्यूजन है, ये पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं है, एंड इसको कोई ना कोई मॉडिफिकेशन आएगा या कोई ना कोई चेंज आएगा जरूर, बिकॉज एज इट इज जो लिखा है उसके हिसाब से फ्री ऑफ ड्यूटी है, लेकिन स्क्रैप का डेफिनेशन कस्टम्स क्या करेंगे ये हमें नहीं पता है। ये देखना जरूरी है, बिकॉज स्क्रैप के अंदर इंटरनेशनली कोई भी जगह पे स्क्रैप के अंदर वैल्यू एडिशन हो नहीं सकता है। अगर वैल्यू एडिशन है तो वो स्क्रैप नहीं है।
Okay.
And
Can
just
somebody hear me?
just to add to what Chandubhai said is very right, and it's all based on interpretations. So based on the current understanding, if the Ministry of Economy in UAE certifies the scrap, it can go into India as a zero duty. So it's important that we get some more clarity in terms of how this is going to happen, because UAE is a manufacturer of jewelry. And as Chandubai had mentioned in the earlier webinar, so you always have scrap of 3 to 4 times when you're using a CNC machine. So effectively, even if it's a conservative estimate of 50 tons of jewelry is being manufactured in UAE, it has the potential of creating a 150 ton scrap.
No, we are manufacturing over 100 tons of jewelry now.
Yeah, see, so which means you're talking about at least 2 to 3 times the scrap that can be, practically generated. And over and about that, I know it's the jewelry scrap is still a contentious stuff, but in terms of the sales that's happening in UAE per se, on an average, 20 to 25% is old gold that's being bought back by the jewelers. So these are the areas that would require more scrutiny. But as things would stand at this point, it is a very, very gray area, which we would hopefully will have clarity when the detail, the circular comes in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
I think if I can add, I would just say that looking at Indian customs, it will be impossible to operate this particular clause, even if it was very clearly said that any scrap is allowed. Because we also have one line that we have followed every clause and the intention of the agreement in spirit and letter, which we have to give a declaration to custom, and custom will always find a fault. So I think as there will be a clarification to the contrary, but this clause is as good as non-operative, except if there is some scrap which may have platinum because of refining process.
Specifically, what does the rules of origin say to it, sir?
It has to be, it means rules of origin here, the way we will say that it is locally manufactured, which will be satisfied because of there being actual manufacturing there. But then Indian customs will say, okay, this is not actually a scrap, it will be something like a waste which can be recycled very easily, as was explained by my colleagues. So I think that the fear around that lot of scrap will flow in is not well founded, and hopefully the trade itself will work on it, that let's have a clarification so nobody gets caught on a wrong foot, and we will be able to get a very good clarity on these subjects. And I could thank all of you, whether it is IIM Ahmedabad or you and all the other agencies who have written about it. So we will be able to get a clarity on it, and we'll put the responsibility on Kothari ji that IPJA will get little bit more active and get a clear clarification. Okay, only this is what we will allow under scrap.
Kothari ji, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, Kothari ji, you're there?
Yeah.
सर
Yeah,
ये
yeah.
आर्टिकल 3.3 के अकॉर्डिंगली जो आपने बात किया 40% जो है वैल्यू एडिशन होना चाहिए, लेकिन कुछ लोगों का नोशन है कि ये नहीं होने से भी चलेगा, तो आप क्या बोलते हैं?
देखिए मैडम, अभी भी 0% में जो गोल्ड कंटेंट कॉन्सेंट्रेट होता है वो इंपोर्ट हो रहा है और बहुत कम क्वांटिटी में हो रहा है 0% ड्यूटी में, बट इट्स अ कंटेंट ऑफ गोल्ड. Again, others metal also is there, so it's content very less of gold. It's come 0% कस्टम ड्यूटी अभी भी इंडिया के अंदर आ रहा है, ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं है 0% ड्यूटी में. यहाँ पे स्क्रैप वर्ड डालने से थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन हो गया है कि स्क्रैप को भी अलाउ कर रहे हैं.
I agree.
बिल्कुल सर. सर any other opinion from anybody else on the scrap itself? Mr. Srinivasan?
नहीं, इंस्टेड ऑफ एक ओपिनियन है मैम कि इंस्टेड ऑफ डोरे बार also the allow the scrap under the license of DGFT which issue the for dore importing, I think can also allow scrap also.
Okay.
My understanding, actually, no, to discourage the scrap import only, government has put 40% value addition now. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. So you don't see it as a threat, that means, right?
Pardon?
You don't see it as a threat, that means.
No, actually, value addition, we have to ensure that 40%. Otherwise, the customs will create a problem. Then they will be in trouble.
Okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
Anybody else you would like to add on something? Or otherwise, we'll move to the next topic of discussion.
Just one clarification, as Srinivas sir said, if one has to look at the 40% value addition, then I agree that there will be no scrap that can be imported. On the 40% value addition, on what? You know, that is another question that needs to be answered. Because as you know, Dubai doesn't have a mine from where the dore will come out. So this 40% value addition is on what? They use the virgin gold for making jewelry. Now, I don't think even jewelry making takes into consideration the 40% value addition. So that also needs to be clarified. I mean, when we talk about the 40% value addition, on what we, you know, that's the, what is something which we should ask for.
Kothari ji, you would like to answer? आप आंसर देना चाहेंगे इस बारे में?
हम इब्जा ने ऑलरेडी इसके ऊपर एक लेटर भी लिख लिया है कि इसको क्लेरिफाई करे कि 0 कस्टम ड्यूटी 40% वैल्यू एडिशन और कहां से कैसे आएगा वो सब. मुझे लगता है जहां तक हमारा सवाल है, इट्स ओनली 0% ड्यूटी ऑन कॉन्सेंट्रेट ऑफ गोल्ड which content very less quantity, very less content of gold also. So it's coming in India. So I think it's clarify हो जाएगा. हमने already ministry को लिख भी लिया है लेटर कि kindly clarify this 0% of scrap customs duty.
जी, धन्यवाद सर. अब हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. सर, some say, okay, हम silver, yeah. Some say the provision made under 7106 is very good for growing silver business in India. तो कोठारी सर, आपका व्यू इस बारे में आप? कोठारी जी.
हाँ जी.
सर, कुछ लोग मतलब ऐसा बात हो रहा है कि 7106 जो है वो सिल्वर बिजनेस ग्रो करने के लिए बहुत अच्छा मूव है. तो आपका क्या?
देखिए, अगर सिल्वर के अंदर कस्टम्स ड्यूटी अगर टेरिफ वैल्यू कम करते हैं तो इट्स अ वेल एंड गुड है. अगर आप देखो तो 5000 प्लस टन्स का इंपोर्ट होता है इंडिया के अंदर. अगर कॉन्सेंट्रेट और यहाँ पे काफी रिफाइनरीज भी है, अगर अलाउ करते हैं तो आई थिंक इट्स अ बेस्ट पार्ट. और कस्टम्स ड्यूटी धीरे धीरे अगर कम भी कर रहे हैं तो वी कैन कॉम्पिटिट विद एनीवेयर.
तो कम हो रहा है ये ड्यूटी?
पर देखिए मैडम, अगर कम होता है, ऐसा पता चलता है कि 1 साल के बाद में कम हो रहा है या 2 साल के बाद में या 3 साल के बाद, तो इन्वेस्ट कौन करेगा? अगर मुझे मालूम है कि 5 साल के बाद में मेरा 5% वैल्यू ऐसे ही ड्यूटी कम हो रही है, तो हु कैन इन्वेस्ट?
करेक्ट सर, करेक्ट।
इन्वेस्ट कोई नहीं करेगा ना मैम। जब आपको लग रहा है कि 6% ड्यूटी हो रही है 12.5 की, तो इन्वेस्ट कौन करेगा और कौन स्टॉक इन्वेंट्री लेके बैठेगा?
सही बात, करेक्ट जी। थैंक यू सर। हम जाएंगे मिस्टर प्रमोद मोहन के पास। सर, कैन यू हियर मी?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So how is the trend of silver import from UAE? Would this provision enable growth in imports of silver bullion from UAE? And would the refiners in UAE be enthusiastic about it? So, what do you have to say?
Currently, if you look at it in the last couple of years, or silver has never been a strong point for UAE refiners. It's always been gold. But in the last 1 to 2 years, 1 or 2 refiners has been very active when it on the silver side, especially for small bars and coins, and they have been importing silver into India on a regular basis. So definitely, this duty differential would incentivize those refiners to do more, and especially from second year when there is a clear differential of 1%. I'm sure there would be more takers in terms of silver out of Dubai. So definitely the refiners are ready from the UAE side. It's purely a matter of demand that has to be created on the Indian side. So I'm sure, from year 2, when there's a clear 1% differential going all the way up to 4% by year 5, there would be an opportunity for refiners in UAE to supply more silver into India.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Srinivasan. Sir, sir, are you there?
Yes, yes,
yeah. So silver jewelry exports, if we talk about, so you think it will improve?
Yeah, 100%. See, right now, actually, there is no much silver jewelry export to UAE. But the moment actually there is no duty, 100% actually no export will go up from there. Actually no trading will happen.
Okay.
In vice versa, actually we are also having a benefit. That root duty reduction also there. Okay, whatever benefit we are having in gold, actually same we are having in gold, silver also. Silver is something more. Definitely, it's good. It will motivate more exports.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chandu Siroya, you would like to add on something?
Actually, I don't know, because Dubai is not a very big silver market and there is hardly any scrap of silver happening here. So to export to India, the refiners would actually have to import the bars or import some scrap jewelry of silver from some other countries, and then make it as silver for export to India. So I personally, I think maybe it is an advantage, but the advantage is not so great.
Chandubai, when we are refining, you will get a byproduct silver also.
That but silver is very, very limited quantity. It won't be in tons and tons.
That is depends upon what dore they are procuring.
Yeah, but the dore themselves will be going directly to India.
No. They are also doing the refinery. Refine they are doing the UAE.
Yeah,
so when they are refining, they will get a byproduct of silver also. So that silver they can export. Actually, that is one.
I agree. It is going to be there, but it won't be very big numbers. That's what I want.
Okay, sir. Bhargava Vaidya, sir. Sir, your observation, please, sir.
As I think mentioned by all my colleagues, you will not see a lot of silver flowing in because the basic infrastructure is a bit smaller. What we may find that maybe some small bars which are coming elsewhere in the world may be better supplied by UAE refinery is maybe after 2-3 years when the differential is more than 2% or 3%. For this 0.5%, I don't see any change.
Hello.
Hello. For 0.5%, I don't
Hello.
see much change. And once you have at least 2% differential, you will find something interesting in silver.
Yes.
Correct, sir. Sir, Prithviraj ji.
Yeah.
तो
Yeah,
सर
ma'am.
आप फर्स्ट जब हमारा स्लाइड चला था आप नहीं थे सर टैरिफ रेट कोटा के अंदर 120 टन जो है अलाउ हुआ है सर, आपका टिप्पणी इस बारे में?
देखिए हम लोग खुद कंफ्यूज है कि 120 टन्स का उसका कोटा कैसे देंगे। 1% कस्टम ड्यूटी, देखिए टोटल कस्टम ड्यूटी का जो डिफरेंस होता है इट्स जस्ट ऑफ अबाउट 600 करोड़ रुपीस। अब गवर्नमेंट को 600 करोड़ रुपीस देना है, उसमें उसको कैसे बाइफिकेशन करेंगे? क्योंकि ईच एंड एवरी, अभी अगर आपने देखा होगा तो ऑलमोस्ट 3 लाख ज्वेलर्स इन इंडिया, उसमें से अगर एक गवर्नमेंट चाहती है, जैसे हमारी एक मीटिंग भी हुई थी मिनिस्ट्री के साथ में जूम कॉल के ऊपर, हमने उसके बारे में डिस्कस किया था, तो उन्होंने क्लियर कहा था कि हमें छोटे छोटे ज्वेलर्स को बेनिफिट देना है। और छोटे छोटे ज्वेलर्स को बेनिफिट इन टर्म्स ऑफ कैसे देंगे
जी?
अभी उसमें छोटे ज्वेलर्स को बैंक 1 किलो 2 किलो 5 किलो कौन माल देगी? बैंक जनरली बुलियन ट्रेडर्स और ज्वेलर्स के अकाउंट भी ओपन जल्दी से नहीं कर रहे हैं। बैंक उनको 1 किलो 5 किलो कैसे उनको डिलीवरी दे? हम चाहते हैं कि 600 करोड़ रुपया गवर्नमेंट जो दे रही है उसको दूसरे कोई वे से दे, लाइक जैसे हमने जब डिस्कस किया था भार्गव भाई और उनके कि भाई अगर देना ही है तो ज्वेलर्स को, ठीक है बुलियन डीलर को आप साइड में कर दीजिए, बट एवरी बुलियन डीलर इज अ ज्वेलर्स। अभी IFCA में आपने देखा होगा कि क्वालिफाइड ज्वेलर्स जो किया है उन्होंने, उसमें भी हर बुलियन डीलर ज्वेलर्स है, हर जगह उनका ज्वेलरी भी है, बुलियन डीलिंग भी है, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग भी है और रिफाइनरी भी। तो आप उसको डिफाइन कैसे करोगे? तो हमने उनको कहा है कि आप इसको स्क्रिप्ट के रूप में दे दीजिए अगर आपको छोटे ज्वेलर्स को देना है। अब वो 1 किलो 2 किलो तो प्रोक्योर करने सकते हैं दुबई से कहीं से भी या बैंक से भी। अच्छा, सेकंड चीज है कि दुबई गुड डिलीवरी है, बैंक से इंपोर्ट करेगी, कैसे करेगी वो भी क्वेश्चन मार्क है, क्योंकि अभी तक बैंक LBA में गुड डिलीवरी बाहर ही खाली इंपोर्ट करते थे, दुबई गुड डिलीवरी बाहर नहीं है। हमने इनका एक जरिया बताया कि IFCA के थ्रू जो गिफ्ट सिटी में IIBX बुलियन एक्सचेंज खुली है उसके थ्रू रूट करके उसके थ्रू आप उसको छोटे ज्वेलर्स को अगर स्क्रिप्ट देते हो तो जो कस्टम ड्यूटी की बेनिफिट होती है वो उनको स्क्रिप्ट में मिल जाएगी। तो इससे अगर 600 करोड़ स्मॉल ज्वेलर्स को देना है या उनकी स्किल डेवलप करनी है या उनका प्रमोट करना है तो उनके लिए कुछ ना कुछ गवर्नमेंट को 600 करोड़ रुपया कैसे देना है उसके बारे में सोचना चाहिए। अगर डायरेक्ट 1% इंपोर्ट होता है, अगर क्वार्टरली 30 टन का कोटा देता है तो इट्स इफेक्ट ऑन द होल इंडस्ट्री। मार्केट पे भी इफेक्ट करेगा कि दुबई का गुड्स आ रहा है कि LBA में गुड्स है कि रिफाइनरी गुड्स है। इतनी रिफाइनरी हमारी है 31 रिफाइनरीज है, उसको भी इफेक्ट करेगा। डोरे बार पे इफेक्ट करेगा 1%। और कब 30% आप उसको बाइफरकेट कैसे करो? तो ये बहुत क्वेश्चन चल रहा था और उसमें कंक्लूजन नहीं आया। फिर हमने डिसाइड किया कि तीनों एसोसिएशन मिलके एक प्रेजेंटेशन दे देते हैं, अभी हम लोग बना रहे हैं उसके ऊपर कि एक बना के मिनिस्ट्री को देते हैं। अल्टीमेटली यही फाइनल हुआ कि आप लोग हमको लिख के देखो आपको कैसे बेनिफिट चाहिए। हम अभी तीनों एसोसिएशन मिलके एक प्रेजेंटेशन दे रहे हैं कि बेनिफिट छोटे छोटे ज्वेलर्स को किस तरह मिलनी चाहिए। इसके बारे में हम लोग बैठ के गवर्नमेंट को रिप्रेजेंट करेंगे कि इसका बेनिफिट ऐसा होना चाहिए ताकि मार्केट को इफेक्ट नहीं करे।
जी सर, कौन सा, जस्ट फॉर रेफरेंस सर, कौन सा 3 एसोसिएशन सर आप बात कर रहे हैं?
GJPC, GJC and IPCA, these 3 major association is there.
Excellent sir, excellent, बहुत ही बढ़िया सर। Now we'll take up some questions. Thank you sir. पहला question we will take from Mr. Chirag Sharma. So he has asked that what is the logic of having an incremental rate reduction every year for silver, I guess. So anybody would like to answer on that? Mr. Bhargava, it seems you can answer.
No,
you have unmuted, I see.
I unmuted. I said none of us were there in drafting this policy.
Okay.
So but yes, the only thing would be to not to give a straight away 5% shock. With Kothari ji was saying that whenever there is a duty reduction, there are more chances of people having a stock shock. So they thought we will give a slow shock. So it went on over a period.
Okay. Mr. Surendra Mehta ji ने पूछा है, auction of tariff quota is only option at 30 turn every quarter through IIBX. Anybody would like to comment on that?
The auction will bring the
Zero cartel हो जाएगा. Bhargav bhai, it's again the cartel.
yeah, and it will bring the price even down.
हाँ,
We
वो
will have
भी
a
cartel हो
different thing to
जाएगा.
do it. As you know, maybe I'm a big supporter of scrip just now, and we may say it may be used for paying the duty of import of here only, where there will be some less benefit, but cash flow implication to government will not be there, and it will be easier to manage and to spread the gains across a larger number of people. Let's see how we can work out. But all we are happy just now to say that we get 1% benefit in imports of what can be good Dubai delivery. So let's look at the brighter side and all of us work together to make it practically a success.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. Kohit Wanga ji ने पूछा है, any option on import of gold from UAE at duty less? Anybody would like to answer? Duty free, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So we move on to Mr. Shanks. He has asked, 1 second. Yeah. How does UAE disposes the jewelry scrap now? And will there be any cost benefit for them to export to India? Mr. Chandu Suraya, I think you will be the best person to answer this question. Please unmute yourself. Yeah, thank you.
So when it comes to practicality in the manufacturing process, all the scrap which is generated is generally reused by the manufacturers. Either they refine it in-house or they send it for refining outside, but all the scrap is reused. So as of now, nobody sends any scrap gold to India or anywhere else for that matter. But when there is an import duty benefit of 12.5%, and if it is allowed, then all the scrap will be going to India. But I'm sure, as Kothari ji said, there will be something or the other. It cannot be done, and I'm sure good sense will prevail.
Okay, thank you. One very, very good question actually. What type of jewelry demand is in Dubai? Is it handmade or it's a machine-made casting?
You see, the jewelry in India, in Dubai, as I said earlier, Dubai is home to almost 192 nationalities. So the jewelers here stock all types of jewelry for all tastes. Plus, we are also a very big distribution center for all the worldwide jewelry. So in UAE, you will find jewelry made in almost every manufacturing country. So whatever type of jewelry can be made to world-class standards can be sold in Dubai. It could be handmade jewelry, could be machine-made jewelry, could be casting jewelry, could be electroforming jewelry, could be CNC jewelry, any type of jewelry. It can be sold in UAE, provided it is the right finish and the right price.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Another one question which has come in mind is, Mr. Sami is there. Sami, you there? Sami, you're there? Okay. Mr. Harish Pawani, if he is there. Mr. Harish Pawani, can you hear me? Sir, your comments, please, if you can hear me.
Harish bhai, can you unmute yourself? I saw him there.
Yeah. Please unmute yourself, sir.
I think, Madam, Harish bhai is the only person give the right direction of 1% custom duty, how to दिस गवर्नमेंट को कैसे उसको ड्यूटी को यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं, खाली एक हरीश पवार ही बता सकते हैं।
करेक्ट। सो हरीश पवानी जी को इसलिए अनम्यूट करना ही पड़ेगा। वी आर वेटिंग सर। Okay, sir. Yeah.
Mahendra
Okay, no, this Mahendra here, this side. Harish bhai just gone out, so in his absence, I'm just attending the seminar. So ball is back to Prithviraj Kothari ji.
મહેન્દ્રભાઈ, તમે કહો કે આ 1% કસ્ટમ ડ્યુટી નો બેનિફિટ કેમ પાસ ઓન થવો જોઈએ, એ એક ક્વેશ્ચન
That
માર્ક
is a
છે,
tricky
અમારે
question. That
અમારે
is-
દિમાગમાં નથી, કાંઈ બેસી નથી રહ્યો.
No, that is a tricky question that is a layman language. Even if I ask you કે 50 કિલો બી ગોલ્ડ તમને મોકલાવીએ, તમે 9+1 3% જીએસટી પકડીને 12% ક્લિયર કરશો
હા.
અને જ્વેલરી જે એક્સપોર્ટ કરશો ત્યાંથી, how is going to work out?
જ્વેલરીના અગેન્સ્ટમાં તો ગોલ્ડ મળશે ને પાછો. That is a replenishment
નહીં,
scheme.
જ્વેલર એક્સપોર્ટ માટે નથી આ બેનિફિટ આપી રહ્યા છે. મહેન્દ્રભાઈ, ઇટ્સ નોટ ફॉर एक्सपोर्टर बेनिफिट्स, इट्स अ प्योर इंपोर्ट. जो डोमेस्टिक प्लेयर है उनको ही सिर्फ बेनिफिट देना है. गवर्नमेंट इज क्लियर.
ચંદુભાઈ ગુજરાતી અવોઇડ કરો ને બાબા. Everybody doesn't understand ગુજરાતી.
Government, Mahendrabhai, government is clear. This 600 crore rupees of benefits passing to the small jewelers, domestic player of small jewelers.
Okay.
कोठारी जी, आप महेंद्र भाई को ऑप्शन मत दीजिए, वो बोलेंगे मेरे को दे दो, आई विल डिस्ट्रीब्यूट.
काका, मुझे एक चीज बताएं पृथ्वीराज जी, मुझे एक चीज बताएं कि अगर ये गोल्ड ऐसा कंडीशन आए कि इट कैन बी सप्लाइड ओनली ऑन IIBX, तो गोल्ड रेट सीधा नीचे नहीं आएगा, 1% सबको बेनिफिट हो जाएगा, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता?
नहीं, पर वहां पे भी क्वालिफाइड ज्वेलर्स की एक डेफिनेशन दिया है कि जिसका नेटवर्क 25 करोड़ होना चाहिए, 3 साल तक उसका 90% बिजनेस बुलियन होना चाहिए, उसका भी एक क्राइटेरिया दिया हुआ है.
सिर्फ उसी एक्सचेंज पे बिक सकता है सोना, तो
नहीं,
वहां
तो
पर गोल्ड रेट नीचे आ जाएगा.
हाँ, तो दुबई गोल्ड का प्रीमियम चलेगा और LBA में गोल्ड डिस्काउंट में रहेगा.
सही है.
हाँ,
It will be somewhere in the middle.
yes.
Yeah. It's a difficult call, but I'm sure they will find a way.
Chandu bhai,
Soon.
you and Harish bhai will supply all the gold, and I think that the price will not go down.
I wish I could, but Harish bhai maybe yes.
नहीं, but Chandu bhai, it's a 5% duty जो remove किया, it's a best, it's one of the best part. It's 100%. ये गवर्नमेंट ने जो इनिशिएटिव लिया, it's a terrific. 1% is okay, 600 crore is nothing. 600 crore रुपया कोई फर्क नहीं
Nobody is
पड़ता है.
talking about value additions now. Now it is a complete exemption. So
Yeah,
value
yeah.
addition का जो हम लोग ने golden jewelry जो मारामारी चलता था, I think that has gone out of the blue now. It is very good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but I think the UAE government has been very magnanimous, and they have announced this 5% reduction, which is going to be fantastic for the Indian jewelry business and Indian exporters.
But I think till now, custom doesn't have any much clarity on what are the requirements. I think it would be on same lines as it is given the exemption in UAE for Singapore-made jewelry. Correct?
Yeah. It would be the
It
same.
would be the country of origin which would be critical factor, and
Yes.
attestation by the Indian Chamber and the customs stamping would be the basic requirement for getting the exemption.
That is what we understand. Yes.
Great. This was okay. That's an amazing discussion. So, Mr. Suresh Dhruv is there. Dhruv is there.
I could see him.
Okay, sir, please unmute yourself. We would like to know your take on this. A small.
As per my study, that 40% value addition is not applicable to the import of scrap. But what is the definition of scrap is a very tricky question. That if we solve, then it can come at 0%. 40% is not applicable. That I am sure.
This
I
is what
don't
I
have
also
a,
said.
yes. But the definition is a tricky question. 2111 define broken jewelry also. It define the compounds also, chemicals also. It should not contain the platinum, but platinum is defined separately. It's a very big explanation. Notes are there. 7112. But it is not clear. All the definition is very ambiguity. One side that you can import dust, other side say dust containing precious metal can be imported. So I could not follow it. But the 40% is not applicable. That is true.
Sir, a following question to you, I think it will be the best. So what effect would this import of gold on concessional rate put on Indian gold refining industry? It's a question by Mr. Kush Goyal.
Yes. No, it is good for the refinery. If we are allowed to import scrap of 70%, 75%, we can refine it.
Right.
Readily. It will be boost the refining business in India. At present, we are getting only 0.65% discount on Dore import.
Right.
The 10% we will jump to anywhere. Whole world refinery, we can refine gold. There are 40 refinery who can say yes.
But sir, 1% deduction is not only for Dore bars, it is for pure gold also. So even Dubai made kilo bars, which are Dubai good delivery, will qualify for that. So that is not going to go for refining again.
Okay.
Yeah, that will affect us. It will be a competition to
So
us.
you see,
So we get
right
0.65.
Right now, the supply of Dore bars is only from the miners, and you need the mining company's certificate of origin for Dore bar to get that 0.65% concession. But here, you can buy the kilo bars directly from UAE, from a UAE refiner. So I'm sure it will be a big impact actually.
It will be big impact on the refinery. The 200 tons, the 25% of the total income.
No, 120 tons first. 120
yes, 120
tons
per.
first.
Okay, then 60%, 70%. Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Surendra Mehta ji. Surendra Mehta ji. Sir, are you there? Sir, can you hear me? I think he's there. Surendra ji. Okay. We'll take up the last question here. There is an increase in demand of COC recycled gold, sorry. So who India and UAE is placed to cater the demand? Who is there to cater the demand? Anybody would like to answer this?
COC gold is got when the jewelry is manufactured. It cannot be manufactured. People used to start manufacturing the scrap itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Mr. Uma Shankar, he said, I think only in, okay, fine. So he has commented on it. Mr. Surendra Mehta, are you there? Anybody would like to add on something before we go for the final summarization? Kothari ji, sir,
yes,
if it will be good if अगर आप summarize कर दे session को, followed with other speakers.
No, thank you very much. पहले तो सबसे पहले मैं इसको जो भी पार्टिसिपेट किया है उनको धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ कि ये जो क्वेश्चन जो आपने लिया है द सब्जेक्ट यू चूज उसमें काफी कंफ्यूजन था उसमें आपने जो सब्जेक्ट लिया और बेसिकली हम लोग जो जहाँ तक ध्यान कर रहे हैं कि इट्स 120 टन्स इंपोर्ट थ्रू ओनली IFCA IFX एक्सचेंज इंडिया इंटरनेशनल बुलियन एक्सचेंज के थ्रू ही इंपोर्ट होगा मुझे ऐसा जहाँ तक ध्यान लग रहा है कि उनके थ्रू ही इंपोर्ट होगा और उसको कैसे ड्यूटी कंसेशन देनी है गवर्नमेंट उसके बारे में विचार कर रहा है उससे एक्सचेंज को भी पूरा ट्रैक हो जाएगा कि किसको बेनिफिट हो रहा है वहां से और उस हिसाब से इसको बेनिफिट जो पास ऑन करनी है जो स्मॉल ज्वेलर्स को या जो भी है जो स्टॉक ब्रोकर के थ्रू जो अकाउंट ओपन करके भी ट्रेड कर सकते हैं जो अलाउ किया है एक RBI का सर्कुलर के हम लोग वेट कर रहे हैं और मुझे लगता है कि इसके बाद में पूरा पिक्चर फर्स्ट में से हमको लाना है तो बहुत जल्दी ये क्लियर हो जाएगा कि उसको कैसे बेनिफिट होगी। बट ये बात फैक्ट है कि इट्स IFC के थ्रू ही रूट होगा, मुझे जहां तक ऐसा लग रहा है, और पूरे बेनिफिट स्मॉल ज्वेलर्स को मिलना है वो मिलके ही रहेगा। हम लोग भी ऐसे ही प्लानिंग कर रहे हैं कि इसमें कैसे छोटे ज्वेलर्स को बेनिफिट मिले। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर एवरीवन हु अटेंडिंग फ्रॉम अब्रॉड, दुबई, एवरीवेयर। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, sir. Mr. James Jones, are you there? Mr. James Jones? Mr. Mohammed Ayub? Mohammed Ayub? You there?
Hello, hi. Yes,
Hi.
I'm here.
Hello.
How are you? I just want you to repeat the question about the COC you have asked for.
Sure. You want me to
Thank
repeat
you.
it for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. 1 second. Yeah. So there is an increased demand of COC recycled gold. Who in India and UAE is placed to cater this demand actually?
So the COC, are you talking about a sort of accreditation of a gold refinery who got an RJC or something related to the COC? Am I right? Did I understand it correctly?
Chain of custody, sir. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Good. Because we've just I think we've just this month only we've been awarded and accredited by RJC COC. So I just wanted to add to this.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have got a summary from Mr. Prithviraj. Bhargav, sir, we would like you to also summarize it.
Okay, I'll again thank everyone.
Thank you.
We would first say that it's a comprehensive treaty for a lot of participation. So bullion part, even if we have got some areas where it was painful, we are going to be a part of it. We are very happy that we will have 120 tons coming from UAE, and let's hope it's UAE good delivery, not only LBM good delivery, which will be in India at 1% discount. So which is going to help bilateral trade between two countries. And the export part, the jewelry 5% discount, which is there, which is a very, very good for both the sides. Scrap, we all feel that there will be a lot of clarity. Suresh Bhai would be perhaps the best person to, or James, to help the government in giving a definition of what type of scrap which may be allowed. Otherwise, this is going to disturb the market, and which we feel would be correctly defined, and only that person will be done, that area will be done. And I'm sure that industry is very careful this time that the entire FTA or any agreement which is there will be taken in true letter and spirit for long-term better relationships on both sides. We will not see the type of issues we had with some of the other agreement, whether it was South Korea or anything else. And for that purpose, let us all join together to say that we have a very well-defined and a healthy business after this particular agreement. I think this is what I see everywhere, and I thank everybody again for this.
Very well said, sir. Thank you so much. Shri Chandu Siroya ji, you would like to add on something?
Thank you very much for inviting me and for listening to us. I would like to just sum up by saying that the consumer of gold, the largest consumer on earth, is India, and the City of Gold have truly signed a fantastic agreement. The governments have done their part. Let's all get together and do our part so that both the countries benefit. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Shri K. Srinivasan ji, you're there?
Yes.
So I would like you to summarize.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. First, we should thank the government for the historical agreement. Definitely, it will boost Indian manufacturing. Definitely, it will be useful for Dubai traders too. There is a small confusion clarification. Definitely, we have to communicate to the government and see that all the doubts will be clarified. That's my take. Thank you very much.
Great, sir. Thank you. Shri Pramod Mohanji.
Hi, thank you, everyone. Just to sum up, just to add to my esteemed colleagues just mentioned, it's a fantastic agreement that has been done by both the governments after a prolonged dialogue and discussions. I think it's time for the industry to act on it. It's definitely the bullion industry in UAE is going to benefit from this. The jewelry industry in India is going to benefit from this. And I hope with the incentive provided on the silver, UAE not being a traditional silver market can benefit from that, and in the next couple of years turn to be an active silver market. So thank you very much.
Great, sir. Thank you. I thank all the speakers for taking out time and giving us so fruitful advices and discussions, which followed with a lot of nice questions. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. We hope the clarifications we wanted, we met some of them, and some of them are still on the back. And we hope that we'll get more clarity with due course of time. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the speakers. Thank you, all the attendees.